pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States to the republic for which it stands. Greet your neighbors. Today's invocation will be offered by Katie Cooper.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for all you have blessed this community with, especially our farmers and bounty of agricultural products. Please remind us of the importance of nature and stewardship. Thank you for the meal and the hands that have prepared. In your name we say amen.
Thanks, Katie. If I sound a little scratchy, it's because my voice is a little weird, but I don't have COVID in case Nick is there. Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see all of you again. I hope you had a great weekend. The weather was pretty nice. And this time to start getting serious about our Meals with a Mission. It is next Monday, and the committee will be coming up in a few minutes to say a few words about it. If you don't have your tickets, please get them. It's important we have a good turnout, and that'll be good. This last weekend, it's not Rotary news, but I had my 55th class reunion, and that was always interesting. We had a nice crowd, and it's the class is shrinking. I can't figure it out. But today in history, in 1957, the United States and Canada announced that they had agreed to create the North American Air Defense Command, better known as NORAD. It is located in the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado Springs, Colorado. At this time, the Lynn and the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Greg. First, I'd like to thank past President Tim Swift and past Secretary Tim Swift for subbing last week. Appreciate it. Thank you. Also like to let you know that many are starting an event to help raise funds for the Ukraine. In a couple weeks, Phil Mariola will come to the podium and explain in more detail how we can help as individuals in a club. I would also like to take a moment to special welcome to the Ramsires, Denny and Karen. As many of you remember, Art Ramsire, Denny's father, was a 62-year member of this Wooster Rotary Club. And as a matter of fact, he sat in the last table there with Joel Cessna, with Ed Everhart, Steve's father-in-law. It was always great to come in to Wooster Rotary and have a collection of Smithvilleites that I could exchange stories with. So Ramsires are always welcome to Wooster Rotary. Thank you so much. One thing I would like to mention, I didn't, many of you don't know that Art was probably a 50 or 60-year member of Smithville Rotary Group as well. So he knew what service above self really was. I would like to start introducing guests, and I have brought a guest with me this morning, Kristen Sampson. If you please stand. Kristen is our new work-based learning coordinator at Wayne County Schools Career Center, and it is her first day on the job, so we always celebrate coming to Wooster Rotary. Russell Robertson has the traveling microphone. We'll start with Seth Buckler.
My guest today is my youngest daughter, Olivia.
think we're having trouble with that microphone, so we'll do the rest without the microphone. Shannon Waller, if you can speak up, please. Join minutes. Great choice, Evan, front row seats. Greg Long has a guest, and while Greg's introducing his guest, we will have also a Meals with a Mission announcement. Thank you.
My guest today is John Schmidt. Stand up, John. John is a singer, and his album will be on sale in the lobby after. He is also a prison minister. He's going to be writing a book someday, I'm sure, and those will be good stories. John is also the president of my class at Driveway, and he claims now he is the for life dictator of the class. John, welcome.
All right, this is the last time you'll hear from us about the Meals with a Mission. So reminder, next week, August 8th, from 4 to 7 at TJ's. There will not be a new meeting next week, so you can just join us for dinner. There will be some live music, amazing food, and it's our lovely Steve Webster's birthday that day, so we can all come together and celebrate him that day. We will have some raffle baskets there to buy tickets for. We still have some tickets here available. You can also do them online. We'd like to get another additional 100 tickets sold. That's our goal. So if you guys can help us out, that would be amazing. There isn't a Facebook event page, so if you're on social media and would like to share that, we would appreciate it. And then also we need a few volunteers, and so we do have a volunteer sign up sheet. So if you want to see us, we can get you signed up for that. All right, thank you.
And I would suggest, if you will, when you come to the meals next week, if you wear your Rotary shirt and we can show the colors, I think it would look, I think it would be really good. It is nice to see our guests, and welcome to Kristen, Mike, Olivia, and Evan. And we have two younger ones here. I think it's very appropriate to bring your children to Rotary. I brought Matt when he was 5 and 6 years old, and look, he became a member. So, you know, you got to start them young, and we just hope that Olivia and Evan want to be sharing someday. So at this point, folks, it's a pleasure to introduce Dennis and Karen Ramsire. Dennis grew up on the Ramsire potato farm. After completing his business degree at Bluffton College, he spent 2 years doing a voluntary service term in Bolivia with an agricultural program resettling colonists from the mountain areas to the virgin forest and lowlands. In 1982, he joined his father, Arden, as a partner at the farm, where they raised field corn and wheat along with potatoes. Karen grew up in Pennsylvania on her family's potato farm. After getting her bachelor's degree in nursing, she moved to Ohio and married Dennis. They raised four daughters, and also had 2 foster daughters. The younger 3 daughters, Jenna, Elise, and Mary, are triplets. They live near the farm and are involved in it in varying degrees. Jenna has been the operations manager since graduating from college with a business degree. Her husband, Trevin, am I saying that right? Trevin Mass, a mechanical engineer, has been taking care of the corn and soybeans, as well as using his engineering skills when needed for new attractions. Elise and Mary are both registered nurses. Elise's husband, Aaron Bontrager, is full-time with the farm. He uses his business and graphic design skills, creating maze designs, signage, their website, and handles social media posts.
Mary helps out in the fall and during the pandemic used her nursing skills to create safety protocols. Kendra, the oldest daughter, lives in Indiana, but finds ways to help out, especially in the fall. In 1990, Dennis planted the first pumpkins with hopes of creating a college fund for Kendra. In 2000, sensing need to diversify during some difficult farming years, Karen left her school nurse position to help by hosting school field trips, creating a corn maze, and selling pumpkins to visitors. Today, Dennis and Karen continue farming 550 acres, raising 250 acres of corn, 180 acres of soybeans, 90 acres of wheat, 20 acres of pumpkins, and 10 acres of sunflowers, while also opening their farm to the public in the fall with over 50 different activities for all ages to enjoy. They connect annually with the National Maize Group to share new ideas and learn new ways of doing things. So as they say, they can keep rolling with the punches. Folks, I'm going to give you Dennis Ramsay.
Well, it's good to be here and thanks for the invitation. We explain a little bit about our farm and how we've gotten to where we're at today. And as was mentioned before, my dad, Arden, was a faithful member here, and he always enjoyed Mondays coming in and being a part of this group. And I couldn't figure out sometimes we would be in the thick of planting or the thick of harvest, and off he would go. But he really enjoyed this group here. So I will give a brief history of the farm, and then Karen will take it from there, how we developed our ag entertainment part of it. So the fellow on the top left is my great-grandfather, Daniel. The fellow on the right is AC, and then what?
Your grandpa.
My grandfather, and then the bottom, the fellow tying the bag, the younger fellow there is my father, Arden. So those are the three generations till it got to me. I was the fourth. Daniel moved here from Stark County in 1880 and purchased a farm just north of Smithville where the high school is at now. And he was a farmer, raised animals and crops like most people did, but he also got into the horse business and did a lot of buying and selling of horses. My grandfather AC then came back to the farm in the early 1900s. And he saw that there was not, and there was tractors starting to be used in the fields for agriculture, and they weren't just using horses anymore. So he decided to get into the dairy business and cattle business. Guernseys, to be specific. He would go, well, he didn't personally go, but he shipped Guernsey cattle over from Guernsey Island off of England by boat to New York. And then they would put them on rail cars to Smithville, and then they would drive them from Smithville out to the farm, which is about a little over about a mile out to the farm. He would then have large cattle sales, and people would come from all over the eastern part of the United States to buy these prized cows that came from Jersey Island. He also got into the dairy business and was able to build a dairy up to 200 head of cow milking in the early 30s. He was milking 3 times a day, so he was quite progressive for his time. But he had the misfortune in 1932 of a barn fire and lost all the cattle but one. And so he had to make a decision where he was going after that point. He had been raising some about 100 acres of potatoes then, and decided to retire from the dairy business and concentrate on potatoes. Why he did that, no one seems to know anymore, but that's the direction he went. So from 1932 until 1948, when he passed away, he developed quite a large potato operation. And he was raising up to 1,000 acres at the peak. And it was all done by hand, all hand labor. They were all bags, the potatoes were all put in 100-pound bags, as we saw in that earlier photo. And peddlers from cities would come with their pickups or small trucks. People would come in the cars, buy the potatoes there at the farm and take them back to the cities. In 48, he passed away with a heart attack, and that left my uncle Al Ramsire, and he was 26, and my dad, who was 20, to continue, which was a challenge. My dad was in college at that time, and he stayed out of college that fall. That first fall was AC passed away in July, and to help with the harvest. And then he went back to school as soon as they were done and was able to catch up by Christmas time and didn't miss a beat in college. The potatoes at that point were all for eating, and it was in the late 40s and early 50s that potato chips became popular. And it was actually the chip plant built here in Worcester because there were so many potatoes built in this or grown in this area. So my father and grandfather, as soon as the youngest sister turned 21, which is 1956, the estate was settled. And they then bought their sisters out. There were 7 sisters. And at that point, they split the farm. So it was 2 separate farms. They did their own farming, but they both raised about 250 acres of potatoes with a rotation of 250 acres of wheat. And the potatoes then were sold for chips. And over time, most all of them ended up coming to the Wooster plant at which was bought by Frito-Lay in 1960. So things went along fairly smooth during the 60s and 70s and early 80s. We were basically potato farm with raising wheat, and most of them all came right here to the Wooster plant. In the late 80s, we had a severe drought, which some of you might remember in 88. And 89 was a very wet year, and we didn't finish planting until July 3rd, which was 5 weeks behind schedule. And 91 was another severe drought. So we had 3 out of 4 bad growing seasons, and that meant that we didn't have the supply of potatoes we needed to, and the quality was not as good when they were growing under stress. So at that point, Frito-Lay made the decision not to buy any more potatoes in the state of Ohio, which was a real blow to us because that was our main crop and main source of income. So we went out and found some other smaller chip companies to sell to. We decreased our acreage and we continued on. But Karen and I realized at that point that we needed to diversify some more if we were going to continue to live on the farm, because it was just too risky depending on Mother Nature. So we didn't come up with anything right away. It took us a number of years. But in late 90s, no, I guess it was, yeah, well, 90, well, I'll back up. We started raising a few pumpkins for college fund, which was mentioned here in the beginning of the 90s. And we kept increasing that. So we had several acres of pumpkins we were growing, and we sold there in the fall to retail people would stop by. But it was in about 98, 99, I guess it was 99, we had a Sunday school party at our place. And I borrowed a hayride wagon from a neighbor, and we all went, had a good time, went back to the woods, had a bonfire, and just a great time. And coming back from that, we said to ourselves, you know, why can't we do something like this for the public? Because most people don't have any connection to farms anymore. They're urban people, city people, and they just enjoy getting out in the country and country feel. And I said, well, you know, I was at a seminar this winter and the winter before, and there was this thing called a corn maze out in Indiana, and somebody cut a path through their cornfield in the shape of Indiana, and then they charged people to to go through the cornfield. Now, wow, that's different. And so we kind of jumped on that. And Karen was a school nurse at the time. And so we said, you know, let's just try that and see where we can take it. And so at that point, Karen became directly involved with the farm. And I will let her take it from here. Well, he mentioned it.
All right, very good.
We're still an active farm, as was mentioned, but I should say this. 5 years ago, we stopped raising potatoes completely. Just because the risks were so high, and there were so few markets. And I didn't have everybody in the family that was really interested in raising potatoes. And we just felt it was best at that time to quit raising potatoes and put our emphasis on developing the ag entertainment part of our farm.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for having us join you today. There are so many ways that I could share how we've just seen God faithfully guiding us over the years and preparing for what we would be doing. And as he mentioned earlier, that I did grow up on a potato farm in northwestern Pennsylvania. And I was well aware of the long work days, the meals in the fields, and the stresses that come from weather extremes. And that was good, good preparation. It's a little different being the wife than the daughter, but anyway. I wouldn't be surprised either that God thought giving us triplets would give me a lot of practice in multitasking and switching to plan B or C, which is nothing new for us. I'm going to just say what our mission is for Ramsayre Farms. Using the resources that God has given us, we use our family farm to provide fun, safe, and interactive experiences for guests of all ages. So we started in the year 2000, and that was our first year of agritourism. We had field trips, we had a few farm animals, there was the corn maze and a maze made out of boxes that we repurposed from holding like a ton of potatoes. Each box could hold a ton. I marked out the maze that our daughter's high school friend designed for us, and it only took me about 2 weeks because it was a pretty good learning curve on that, figuring out how to make a maze. Having had our girls' preschool and kindergarten classes come to our farm, it gave us a head start on knowing what to do for the field trips. And it turned out that bringing the schools to the farm helped because it introduced people to what else we had to offer. And so then they would come back with their families to the mazes and activities. Our field trips are geared to make sure that the students are having fun while they're learning where their food comes from. We now have 2 educational stops on our hay ride to teach students about growing process more, and then they stop in the pumpkin patch and pick their own pumpkin to take home. When the wagon returns to our activity area, they can visit the farm animals, milk the life-size cows, and they can enjoy any of the other 50+ activities that we have. In 2001, we added the Ohio Maze, which was aimed at the 4th grade curriculum to teach Ohio history and geography. We've continued to create that maze as well as offering the public a new themed maze every year. We call the Mystery Maze, and each are about 9 acres. The Ohio Maze has about 250 signs identifying the rivers, roads, Native American trails, peace treaty lines, underground railroad pathways. And then when you get to the cities, there'll be informational signs that tell you fun facts about the US presidents, inventors, authors, athletes, entertainers, factors of production or natural resources. So there's a lot of information in the maze. And we just feel like the hands-on learning when you're walking in the map of the state is a great way for many to get excited about our state. So they can go in with their class and learn all kinds of things about Ohio. Here's our 2005 Mystery Maze, celebrating Rotary International's 100th year. So that was our 205th maze that year. And last year's theme, we used from the movie Cars. And had I known that today was the day that they're going to reveal this year's theme, I would have had a picture, but I didn't have that on here before. So we've chosen a Super Mario theme, which we're calling Maze World. And you can check out our website and our Facebook page today and get the aerial view. So I'm going to just tell you a bit about how we make mazes. A lot of people ask how that happens. And it really was a serious learning curve. I had no idea how to make a maze. I just sort of figured it out on my own. So when we started, we had about 16 to 20 pages that we taped together from graph paper where it was drawn. And each line in the graph paper was a row of corn. And we numbered those, and the rows were planted north, south, and east, west. So we would have along the edge of the field, we put flags. Every 10 would be a white flag and every 50 was a red flag. So when you were standing in the middle of the field, you could count and you could figure out where exactly I am. Put a stake, wrap the twine around the stake, put the next stake in, wrap the twine around, and keep going until all the paths were marked off. And then they would come in and hoe the corn out of those rows. It was about 3 to 4 inches tall by then. After years of practice, instead of 2 weeks, I would have a group of, there would be 16 of us, each taking a fourth of the maze, and we could pretty much finish it in one day, one of the mazes, which was great. Now for the past 5 years, we've sort of gone high tech. It was a little scary. With precision planting, and our son-in-law designs the maze, puts it on the computer, then sends it to the computer on the tractor, which we hire, and the corn planter will turn on and off so it will not plant the pathways using GPS. So at first I was really skeptical of this, and we only did one maze that first year because I was too nervous about it working. And then we found out it really did work, and it saves a lot of money on seed because you're not planting all those paths, miles of paths, and it reduces the labor cost for hoeing out the pathways. So going to go to the next. This is just going to give you a few ideas of what we have created over the years and kind of in how it's gone from year to year. We try to improve every year something, build something new. We want the activities to be related to the farm. We want to, a lot of times it's inspired by our own experiences growing up on a farm. And as Dennis mentioned, people don't have the same connections to farms anymore. So we want to give people a true working farm feeling. So in 07, we did build a big red barn. It's mostly storage all year until the fall. And we do have our office in the one corner, and now our country store is on the one end. And in 10, we built the fry factory because we figured a potato farm, we really wanted to take advantage of that. And we had the fresh French fries was a must for that. In 11, we took an old combine and put a slide in it and give the kids a chance to actually sit up in the seat, feel like they're driving the combine. In 12, we did the little red barn. So first we used it as our corn barn, had the corn on the one end and the other end was for party rentals. But during the pandemic, we decided we needed the space for our team members to spread out for breaks. And so we ended up turning that all into our team member building. In 13, we have the hide and slide hill. And thanks to Dollar General, that was just down the road being built, they needed to move a lot of dirt. We weren't quite ready to make a hill, but we said, there's the dirt, we're going to make a hill this year. So we put 5 slides on the one side and some tunnels and the back side. In 14, we put, remember the day he said, we need to make a slide into something. Like, okay, sure, whatever. So we had to figure out the pitch and all kinds of things we have to practice until we could build it, to figure out how to do it. That year, we also put up the jump pad. We added the jump pad. In 17, we decided to make the tire patch. So using lifesavers and a hot glue gun, we, that winter, set up on our table, all these different activities with tires and use those little lifesavers to glue them together, decide what we're going to do and how it will be laid out. I think there's like 300 tires that we used in there and maybe 50 ton of the rubber mulch in the bottom. So that was quite a task. It also showcased the largest tire that's ever made, which is over 13 feet. And when the company from Bryan, Ohio delivered that, they also threw in the largest agricultural tire, which is also in there. So those all kinds of different activities in the tire patch. And in 18, we made the corn barn because we decided that 24 by 24 in the Little Red Barn wasn't quite big enough. This is 50 by 100. And it's used for storage all year until the fall. And then we put 5,000 bushels of corn in that building. And that gets a lot of use too. And that was a busy year. We added the kettle corn building and our freedom flyers, which are the wheelchair accessible swings, which have been a big hit. Another addition that year was our first sunflower festival. And we have 10 acres of sunflowers. For 2 weekends, we have vendors and we have live music. And it's just a great feeling that people have come from. The first year, I couldn't believe it. They came from every state that surrounded Ohio. We didn't have any idea that they would be coming that far to see sunflowers. And last year we put in the bubble barn, which was fun, with really giant bubbles. They like that. And then I have some pictures. They're not in any particular order of some of our other activities. We have the pedal cart racetracks, one for smaller kids, and then the other one is for youth and adults, bigger ones. Conk the crow. If you have a real good aim and you hit the crow and it spins, it'll break a laser beam and the crows will actually caw. The barnyard basketball. We repurposed some gravity wagons. We have a tractor pull, 3 different size tractors. You can give it a try to pull those. Wall ball, you put the ball in a little ball holder and use the ropes to guide it up, and you try not to fall in all the holes until you get to the very top. And we also have tug of war. And a sneak peek for this year, we have added the cobweb climber, which is 26 feet high and ready for some adventure seekers. I did not go up that high, but it is fun and a lot of people like it. This happened to be a 4-H group that had their meeting on our farm just recently, and we told them they could try it, and they did climb up there. This is just a map that is for this year. It shows where everything is. Occasionally we do move things around, and I didn't put pictures of everything. So if you haven't been on the farm, you can come out and see for yourself some of the other things that I didn't add. All right. We have been so blessed to have wonderful employees as part of our team, and finding 160 plus part-time seasonal help can sometimes be a challenge. So we tap the shoulders of high school and college students, retired folks, moms that are sending their kids off to school, those that are working other jobs and just wanted a little extra income. We have a coach to help those new and younger team members, because we feel like if you can give them a positive, often their first time work experience, you know, they're going to enjoy their time better, and that will give our guests a more enjoyable time as well. We just want to say that everybody that comes on the farm, we want them to go away having fun and having some wonderful memories to take with them. We don't want to leave anybody out. So if any of you want to join in the fun, or if you know someone that would want to join us, we still have a few openings yet. And we just want to make sure that you wouldn't miss that opportunity if that's something that sounds like fun to you. We have some nurses. We have a retired school superintendent. I have a teacher that is full-time, works. She lives 30 minutes away and drives
for both days on the weekends, because she just says it's so much fun. I'm like, whatever, cool. So I mentioned Plan B, and I just gonna show a picture here. We continue to make changes as our family grows, and we do get just a tiny bit older every year. This will be the 8th season that one of our daughters has been the operations manager. We've now hired a full-time HR manager, a full-time operations manager, and a full-time food manager to help ease the pressure of all that she's been doing. We just need to have enough people to spread out the work so that everybody can have an enjoyable time. And we do want to offer a little time if you have questions. We'll try to answer them. But that's all that we have for.
Well, we do have time for questions. The microphone is not working, so if you stand up, we'll repeat the question, so everybody knows. So questions, Bobby?
Well, we usually start with 16. 15's got a lot more rules and regulations. It depends on schedule and situation sometimes, but usually it's 16 and up that we go.
Other questions?
And I even have some great grandparents coming to work this year, just saying.
Marty?
I just want to say, your convention bureau can come through, and you always have something what they're needed to do, and we can always look to you and provide them. My question is, are the sunflowers on track?
On track?
We can get some thoughts.
You've been getting going? Yeah, we're hoping.
That's a good question. We don't know.
They're starting.
We're having problems getting it growing. We don't have problems getting it growing. We've had moisture. The problem is we have birds that are wanting to eat them, just as they're like this tall out of the ground. We've replanted some of them twice and some of them 3 times. And we have 2 cannons that go off from the day to try to scare them. So we're hoping it'll come off, but I can't promise it.
On the right time. We'll keep posting that. We'll keep posting. Okay, when does it start? We are open September 1st through October 31st. And the days that we're open are Wednesday through Sunday, but the Sundays don't start until the next to last Sunday in September, I believe it is. The last 2 Sundays in September and then all the Sundays in October.
Where do you source your potatoes for your French fries?
We get our cider from Grove's Farm in the area, and he also raises potatoes, and I actually was selling the seed potatoes, and we were raising potatoes, so I'm good friends with him. So we actually buy the potatoes from Grove's Farms.
Yes, Tom.
Where do people typically come from, and how far away does, somebody come from to visit you?
It really surprises us, I'll say. I mean, I know I have people that tell me that they come every year from New York City. I'm like, okay, cool. I think they try to time it so they're here when we're open. They might have relatives, and that's how they first started coming here. I mean, we have a map in our barn that people can, well, they can write where they're from, and then we post it on the map. I'm amazed at how many different countries we've had visitors from, and a lot of different states. I mean, I just say, regularly though, I mean, I have people camping out here from like West Virginia. I know they come from New York and Pennsylvania regularly. People, first person one year pulled in and I'm like, where are you from? Oh, Columbus. I'm like, oh, cool. You're from Columbus, not even like just right here, but they come from all over.
There's a lady from Florida that was originally from around here, and so she knew of our farm. I think she's a graduate of Michigan State, and so she times it when she comes up to go up to visit her university, that she comes through here every year to visit the farm on her trip north.
Yes.
When we go past there's cars everywhere. when the lots are full, how many cars is that approximately?
I don't have time to count them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there'll be at least 1,000.
Please don't.
Yes, Doc.
We do with the corn after the kids play.
I bought a big vacuum to vacuum it up in the trucks, and I put it back in the green bin. And I'm able to use it for 3 years, and then I sell it for animal feed, and we get new corn the next year.
How many visitors do you have in a season?
On a busy day, we'll have over several thousand. On a weekend day, that's no problem to be over several thousand.
Well, I think what they've done is absolutely amazing. The conversion from being a regular production farm to this is quite a jump. And I know the litmus test is my grandson. He likes it so much, they bought him a season pass. He comes 3 or 4 times a week. So he gets in that big corn thing and just gets up to his neck. So I think all of you, I'm sure Evan and Olivia, I'm sure they've been there or are going to go this year. So, well, it was a very nice story and in appreciation for your time today with us. I'd like to present each of you with a rendition of the rotary wheel with the 4-way test on the back. And we do appreciate you coming, and we appreciated Arden being a 62-year member of the club. Everybody knew. Thank you very much. We are pleased to have our guest today, and we hope you can come back and see us again. You're always welcome. And the rest of you, you're always welcome to bring guests. Every guest becomes a future Rotarian. So there's a couple things. There'll be, again, with no new meeting next week, the Meals with a Mission. We hope to see you at TJ's. The committee will be at the back door and will accost you as you're leaving. And they are asking for volunteers if any of you would like to help. But we hope to see all of you and get your tickets. And I just wanted to thank all of you for what you do to make Worcester a better place to live. So at this point, we stand adjourned. Thank you. That was a good story. That's a lot easier than I. Well, my grandson, he was absolutely loves it.